Charles Darwin. A name everyone connects with evolution, a name that completely changed how we think about science. Born in 1809, Darwin's impact on how we understand nature is huge. His theory of evolution by natural selection is one of the most important scientific discoveries ever. Darwin's work challenged old beliefs about where different species came from. It caused arguments and lots of discussion. But his ideas, carefully researched and strongly supported, changed biology forever. This video will explore Darwin's life, his theories, and his lasting impact. We'll look at what influenced him early on, his amazing voyage on the HMS Beagle, and how he developed his theory of evolution. Join us as we follow the journey of a revolutionary thinker, a thinker who dared to ask questions, a thinker who changed how we understand life itself. Charles Robert Darwin was born into a family that loved learning. His family was well known and respected in their community, with a strong tradition of intellectual pursuits and curiosity about the world. His grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, was a famous doctor and nature expert. Erasmus was not only a physician but also a poet and philosopher, who wrote extensively about natural history and evolution, ideas that would later influence Charles. From a young age, Darwin loved nature. He spent countless hours exploring the countryside around his home, fascinated by the diversity of life he encountered. He collected shells, insects, and rocks, exploring all the wonders of the natural world. His keen interest in the natural sciences was evident even in his childhood collections, which he meticulously organized and studied. Darwin started his formal education at Shrewsbury School, where he became fascinated by chemistry. The school's rigorous curriculum and emphasis on scientific inquiry helped to nurture his growing interest in the natural world. However, his real passion lay elsewhere. Despite his academic achievements, Darwin often found himself daydreaming about his outdoor adventures and the mysteries of nature. He later went to Edinburgh University to study medicine, a career his father chose for him. The university was renowned for its medical program, and his father hoped that Charles would follow in his footsteps. But medicine didn't interest Darwin. He found the lectures dull and uninspiring, and he struggled to find motivation in his studies. He found the classes boring and was upset by the surgeries. The sight of blood and the suffering of patients deeply disturbed him, making it clear that a career in medicine was not for him. He preferred being outdoors, exploring and discovering new things. His true passion was in observing the natural world, where he felt most alive and engaged. Noticing his son's lack of interest, Darwin's father suggested he become a clergyman. He believed that a career in the church would provide Charles with a stable and respectable profession, while also allowing him time to pursue his interests in nature. Darwin agreed and went to Christ's College, Cambridge in 1828. The university was a place of great learning and intellectual exchange, and Darwin thrived in this stimulating environment. At Cambridge, Darwin's love for nature grew. He spent much of his time in the botanical gardens, studying plants and collecting specimens, further deepening his understanding of the natural world. He became friends with the botanist John Stevens Henslow, a friendship that would greatly influence his future. Henslow recognized Darwin's potential and encouraged him to pursue his scientific interests, setting the stage for his groundbreaking work in evolution. In 1831, an amazing opportunity came up. John Henslow suggested Darwin for the job of naturalist on the HMS Beagle. The ship was going on a 5-year trip to map the coast of South America. Darwin, excited to see the world and learn new things, took the chance. On December 27, 1831, the HMS Beagle left Plymouth, England, with Darwin on board. The Beagle voyage changed Darwin's life. He spent hours studying the plants and animals of South America, carefully collecting samples and writing down what he found. He was amazed by how creatures had adapted to their surroundings, from the beaks of finches to the shells of tortoises. One stop was especially important: the Galapagos Islands. These remote islands, full of unique species, helped Darwin start thinking about how species change over time. The Galapagos Islands became Darwin's outdoor laboratory, a place where he could observe nature in its raw and untouched form. He noticed that while the islands had similar species, there were small differences from island to island. These differences were subtle yet significant, catching Darwin's keen eye. For example, the finches had different beak sizes and shapes, each adapted to the food on their island. Some had long, slender beaks for picking insects, while others had short, strong beaks for cracking seeds. These observations made Darwin question things. He began to wonder about the origins of these differences and what they could mean. Could these different species have come from the same ancestor? This question lingered in his mind, sparking a curiosity that would drive his research for years. And if so, what caused them to change? Was it the environment, the availability of food, or something else entirely? Darwin returned to England in 1836 with lots of questions. His journey had provided him with a wealth of observations, but the answers were still elusive. He studied his samples and notes carefully, meticulously analyzing every detail. Each specimen, each sketch, held a clue to the puzzle he was trying to solve. He read the work of other scientists and economists, looking for answers. The ideas of Malthus on population growth and competition particularly influenced him. Slowly, a revolutionary idea started forming in his mind. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, leading to a groundbreaking theory. He realized that differences within a species, along with limited resources and competition, could lead to the survival of those best suited to their environment. This was a natural process, occurring over countless generations. This process, which he called natural selection, explained the variety of life on Earth. It was a simple yet profound mechanism that could account for the diversity of species and their adaptations to different environments. Survival of the fittest, the core principles of Darwin's theory. This section delves into the fundamental ideas that form the backbone of Darwin's groundbreaking theory. Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection is based on a few key ideas. These ideas revolutionized our understanding of life on Earth and how species change over time. First, individuals within a group aren't all the same, they have different traits. These differences can be in size, color, strength, or any number of characteristics. Some of these traits are passed down from parents to children. This inheritance means that offspring often resemble their parents, but with slight variations. Second, any group of creatures can grow very large if everyone survives and has babies. However, this isn't always the case in nature. But resources like food are limited, and this creates competition. Not all individuals will find enough to eat or the right conditions to thrive. Individuals have to compete for food, mates, and other things they need to survive and reproduce. This competition is a crucial part of natural selection. Third, those with traits that help them in this competition are more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass on those helpful traits. These advantageous traits become more common in the population over time. This process, called natural selection, drives evolution. It is the mechanism by which species adapt to their environments and change over generations. Over many generations, natural selection removes less helpful traits and favors those that help survival and reproduction. This gradual process shapes the diversity of life we see today. This slow process helps groups of creatures adapt to their environments and over a very long time leads to new species. The continuous adaptation and evolution of species is a testament to the power of natural selection. A storm of controversy, criticisms, and challenges to Darwin's ideas. When Darwin published his theory in 1859, it caused a lot of arguments. The idea that species changed gradually, not all at once, went against many religious and scientific beliefs. One big criticism was that it disagreed with the Bible's creation story. The idea that humans and apes had a common ancestor was especially unpopular and seen as disrespectful by many. There were scientific objections too. Darwin's theory didn't fully explain how traits were passed down. He could see the differences, but not how they were inherited. Also, the fossil record back then wasn't complete. Critics said the lack of missing links proved that species didn't evolve gradually. The enduring legacy. Darwin's impact on science and beyond. Even with the initial pushback and ongoing criticisms, scientists slowly started to accept Darwin's theory. The evidence and how well the theory explained things were too strong to ignore. Darwin's work changed biology, giving us a way to understand the variety of life on Earth. It led to lots of new research in areas like genetics, fossils, ecology, and even psychology. Darwin's ideas also influenced things outside of science like literature, philosophy, and even politics. His writings started discussions about what it means to be human, our place in the universe, and the relationship between science and religion. Darwin in the modern world, the continued relevance of evolutionary theory. More than 150 years after Darwin's book, his work is still important. Evolutionary theory is the foundation of modern biology, helping us understand things like antibiotic resistance and how to protect endangered species. Discoveries in genetics like DNA and how traits are inherited have filled in the gaps in Darwin's theory. We now know how traits are passed down and how changes in genes can create new variations. The fossil record once used to criticize Darwin has grown a lot. Scientists have found many transitional fossils, showing how species evolved over millions of years. A final word: Darwin's place in the pantheon of scientific thought. Charles Darwin is one of the most important figures in science. His theory of evolution by natural selection based on careful observation, curiosity, and bravery changed how we see the natural world. Darwin's work challenged old beliefs, caused arguments, and started important discussions, but his carefully researched and strongly argued ideas ultimately won. His work still inspires scientists today, reminding us of the power of observation, the importance of asking questions, and the ongoing quest to understand the mysteries of life. Darwin's work shows the amazing power of human curiosity, and how science can change our understanding of the world.